While your roast is in the oven, I want to show you a quick red wine reduction sauce you can make. It's really easy. It's 5 ingredients, and I'm sure you already have one of them in the kitchen. So let me show you how to do this. So when it comes to the wine you actually use for this reduction sauce, I would go with something a little more fuller bodied. Nothing that's super light. And what I mean by that is this is going to be garnished onto my roast. And I am specifically roasting a strip roast. So I think that it's worth mentioning that a beefier, more decadent roast like a ribeye or a strip will pair well with something fuller bodied, like a Merlot, a Cab, a red blend. That'll get you there. It has a lot of really good flavor. So this deserves a taste. Give it a little swoosh. That'll do. First things first, knife fork. So to start this sauce, I'm gonna do a little butter and shallot in my saucepan. And it's important to mention that we are using butter 2 ways in this sauce. Just to start, we're gonna melt some down in this pot and the shallot goes in with the butter. But at the end of this, we're going to whisk in butter to finish off our sauce. So save your extra butter for the end here. I'm gonna throw a few tablespoons in to start and get my shallot going. And also to mention, if you're not a huge fan of knife work, you don't need to worry too much about what your shallot looks like, as we're going to strain this at the end. The purpose of using shallot is because it's really mild, it's a really tender acidity to add to this sauce. I would not suggest substituting with a red onion. A red onion's gonna be super aggressive in a sauce like this. So if you don't have shallot for this, it is worth running out to get. Make sure your butter's not burning while we cut our shallot. I'm gonna call it a large mince, as I don't want the shallot to burn. It's also why I don't have my heat on super high right now. So shallot goes into the butter. And the goal here is to sweat them. We're sweating it out, we're making them translucent. We don't need any color, we don't need things to brown. This will probably take, I don't know, 2 minutes. We'll get our thyme ready. I'm gonna do whole sprigs, as I said again. We're gonna be straining this at the end, so whole sprigs are just fine. Thyme is just it's my favorite herb. I absolutely love using thyme. Lower the heat just a tad and let this all sweat down together. By this time, your kitchen smells incredible. If I do say so myself, I already know what it smells like in there. I'm gonna go ahead and add my wine. So it's about 2 cups for this much shallot and butter that we did, and I'm just gonna eyeball that. You're totally welcome to measure it out, but the point to this is to reduce down all of that beautiful wine. We're gonna bring that to a boil, and then we're gonna reduce it down to a simmer for about 10 minutes. Or until it's thick. I'll show you. Now that it's simmering, throw in your bay leaf. So it's been about 10 minutes, and what this wine has done is it's reduced by half. So that means that most of the water is evaporated out of it, and we're left with a super concentrated red wine flavor. And so now I'm gonna utilize the last bit of this butter that I mentioned at the beginning, and I'm going to cut it into just a few cubes here. And I'm gonna turn off my heat, and this will just get stirred in slowly. And what that does is, it's called a mount with beurre, right? That's French. You're mounting with butter, which means finishing with a butter is gonna emulsify this red wine reduction with the fat from the butter, and it's going to become super silky and really delicious. So I'm gonna go probably 3 additions at a time and just use the residual heat in the sauce to let it melt in there. The purpose to adding this butter at the end is we're not necessarily melting it all down, and it needs to be a little cold for the emulsification to happen to make the sauce really glossy. So that's why you don't use all of the butter at the beginning. You can already see it's becoming very shiny, super pretty. And once this last bit of butter is incorporated, you'll do the spoon test. okay? I'm sure maybe you've seen it, maybe you know how to do it, but this is your very satisfying last step for any sort of wine sauce that you'll create. Coat the back of your spoon, straight down the middle, and it should stay separated. And then we will strain it to get the bits of shallot and the bay leaf out of our sauce. Careful about the splatter. Get all of that out. And there we have it. Beautiful red wine reduction. Our certified Angus beef strip roast is perfect and well rested. So I'm going to slice into this and plate us up a little bit with our red wine reduction. Look at that. And look at our red wine reduction. It has been beautifully emulsified. It's so thick and luxurious. A little over the top. That was really easy. It's really approachable if you've never made a sauce as a reduction before. But the reason you would do this is because beef pairs so well with the flavor profile of red wine. So the acidity in the red wine sweetens up just a tad when you reduce it, and it helps cut through all of that decadent beefy flavor in the roast. So this is a great way to highlight both beef and red wine. So my friends, try out this red wine reduction sauce to make your roast even that much more special. And if you want the recipe, it's on our website at certifiedangusbeef.com. And for any roasting tips that you may need, check out our Roast Perfect app.